This morning's guest started dissecting frogs at a young age. Today he's here dissecting local health issues. Who is he? You'll meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the M. Russell Holiday Cottage at Brook Green Gardens, the largest outdoor sculpture garden in the world and home of Nights of 1,000 Candles. We're focused on prematurity and local health concerns, and we're visiting with the Health and Medical Director for Region 6 of the Department of Health and Environmental Control, Dr. Covia Stanley. Good morning, Dr. Stanley.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming in early on a Wednesday morning.
Thank
here
you.
At 7.
Glad to be here.
The opportunity to get you in. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving last week.
We did, yes.
Great. Were you? Did you stay in ORE or did you get over to Brunswick?
Well,
County?
I went over to Brunswick County.
Is that right? Where
yes.
Your parents are?
My parents and my brothers. Yes.
That's great. That's great. A lot going on these days, and obviously a lot of folks are thinking about health and
yes.
local health concerns here around the holidays.
Yes, certainly. And certainly we want folks to remember to eat nutritiously, and after you eat all that good food, get out and exercise.
Oh, yeah.
Do some walking for at least 30 minutes, break a sweat, you know, 2 or 3 times a week.
Is it 2 or 3 times a week folks need to be out walking?
At least,
right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You just mentioned after a Thanksgiving meal. How long do folks need to wait? This is just a general question, but obviously as an MD, you've probably heard that before. Is there an amount of time to wait before going out to walk or to exercise after eating a big meal?
Well, not a specific time. You know, you can pretty much gauge yourself, I think, maybe about 30 minutes to an hour afterward, yeah.
So it is a person-to-person?
Yeah, person-to-person.
Yes.
As long as you do it
yeah,
during the
just
day.
make sure you
yes,
do it.
Yes.
Very definitely. Real quick about yourself, Dr. Stanley. Are you originally from the area?
I'm from Brunswick County, just north of here. I grew up in a little community called Longwood, North Carolina, which is in the western part of Brunswick County. And actually my home is about 8 miles from the Ocean Isle Beach.
Is that right?
Yes, it is. And it's a rural area.
It is a rural area.
Yes.
And of course, you mentioned you were just there last Thursday, so you still have family there.
I still have family there. My 2 parents, and I have 3 brothers that live there, and 1 brother's in Newport News, Virginia.
So there's 5 boys. Are there any girls?
No, I'm the oldest of the boys, and my wife was the first daughter that my mother accepted.
Is that?
Yeah, the wives are just like daughters.
That is wonderful.
Strong family.
So you were the first of 5 boys.
Yes.
My Lord, you said 3 of them are there in Brunswick County, the next county over from ORE, and one's up in Virginia.
Yes.
Wow, did he come down?
He did, yes.
Golly, so y'all had a big feast.
A big feast, yes.
Last Thursday. Well, of course, Region 6 here for DHEC, South County DHEC, is ORE, Georgetown, and Williamsburg County. So right here in Georgetown, we're more or less right in the center of it all.
Yes, we are.
Do you have to travel the 3 counties on a regular basis?
I try to purposely get to each county at least once or twice a month.
Right. Sure.
I am a people person, and I like to go out to the different clinics and centers where we provide services for folk, to meet the staff and just to listen, have a presence there. And I have found that it seems to boost them around, and people have more trust in us rather than just sending everything from the ivory tower.
Right. That's a very good point.
Yes.
Actually getting out there. Of course, your hands-on experience as an OBGYN gave you that ability surely to touch people and be a part of their lives. What prompted you to get into medicine in the first place?
It's interesting. As a young boy, about 4th or 5th grade, I wanted to be a doctor and had a little doctor bag for Christmas, and I had a cousin who played my nurse. And as I grew in the 9th grade, I really got into science. And being in a rural area, we just were thankful for Sears catalogs and National Valley Hess and Alden, and I just took my money that I cropped tobacco with during that summer and had my mother to order a dissecting kit for me.
You were
in the ninth grade.
Yeah.
And I started collecting samples from the ditches and from little ponds around the house.
You are kidding. This is
in the ninth grade, and in the 11th and 12th grade, I started having an interest in dissecting frogs. So my brothers helped me to collect frogs who were victimized by me, actually opening them up, checking the organs out, and then sewing them up with tobacco twine. And I just had that interest. It was rather unique.
That is. Did any of your other siblings get into the medical field, or they just watched you?
They just watched. And they were very supportive. Supportive. Now, I'm also a pastor of a Baptist church here in Horry County, and when they introduce me or when they talk about me at my anniversaries, they always bring that up, that we helped them to collect those frogs, and how they were my surgical assistants.
I love it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then later, of course, attended, I believe, North Carolina Central Medical School. I think
I went to North Carolina Central University in Durham.
Right.
And then I went into the Air Force and spent 4 years there. This was during the Vietnam War time, so I went on and got my obligation out of the way, and came back to Durham and got my master's. And I worked as a medical technologist at Duke for a couple of years, and then I went on to University of Buffalo in New York.
I saw that.
And earned my doctorate in medicine.
But later came back, I saw part of your residency was at UNC Chapel.
Well, I did my residency in obstetrics and gynecology in the University of North Carolina, Department of OBGYN.
Right, and boy, that must have been, what was it like when you think about those early years? So at what point did you decide that OBGYN would be the place for you, would be the specialty? Was it during college? Was it even back then early on, or was it during med school?
It was during the third year in med school.
Is that right?
We take electives during the third year, and you go through different electives monthly. And I generally wanted to be a family physician, family practice. And as I went around with other doctors, it wasn't as challenging after you do quite a few throat swabs and looking in the ears and looking in the eyes and, just the general medical things. I felt I needed a little more challenge, and I got interested in pediatrics because I thought of the little babies can't speak, although the mamas are the ones there to help them get the attention and medication they need. And as I rotated through, I narrowed it down to, I think it was in March of my third year, down to surgery in the morning. You asked me at lunchtime, it was internal medicine, and asked me at supper time, it was OBGYN. So as June evolved during that third year, I continued to narrow it down, and I narrowed it down to OBGYN.
Sounds like you really like dinner more than breakfast.
And then internal medicine. And then when I applied to the different residency programs, I sent a letter to the Department of OBGYN and to the Department of Internal Medicine at the 6 different university programs that I was seeking to do the residency, and I just said whoever replies first is where I'll go.
It's in God's hands.
Yes. So whenever I got it from UNC, I said, this is it. And it's interesting, the program director there was a fellow resident with the chairman of the OBGYN department in Buffalo. They did their residency together at University of Virginia in Charlottesville.
Is that? Oh, wow, what a connection.
Yeah,
of course, to be back in the triangle where you attended undergraduate and got your master's, where your wife's a native of Durham.
Yes.
To be back there was probably a great coming home.
Yes. And also, as I said, with OBGYN, I was able to practice that specialty as well as some internal medicine as well, because we have many women with hypertension and diabetes and other problems that normally you would refer to one of the specialists, but I was trained in such a way that I was able to take care of those problems, and I took pride in those diabetics giving them the insulin that they needed at the right time and keeping them at 100 milligrams percent. And had babies with no shoulder dystocia, any real big babies. All of them came out within 8 pounds.
Fascinating, Dr.
So I
Stanley.
enjoyed it. I enjoyed
You know, so often now, someone shared with me the other day there were only 2 recession-proof businesses they could imagine. One was an obstetrician, one was a funeral home. Of course, an aspect, of course, for obstetricians there. It was a side of the medicine that a lot of folks used to think about. Unfortunately, I have 2 uncles who are both formerly OBs, now just focused on the gynecological side because of insurance issues have really impacted dramatically.
Yes, and that's what I did. I gave up OB after my 4th year in private practice and just decided to just do gynecology. It's a different world. The sad part about it in obstetrics and gynecology, with the malpractice premiums being so high, you have to practice medicine defensively. Every time you see a patient, automatically you think of 12 people behind them. There's that potential. Even though you did the best thing, did all you could, there are people who said, I didn't do this to sue you. I know the insurance company has the money. Therefore, the premiums are increased.
The tragic thing that he was sharing, my uncle shared with me on Thanksgiving, was this aspect that this insurance has to be in place, I believe, 18 years out after his last birth, or 20 years.
I'm one of those who had to pay $50,000 to get out of it, what they call the buyout or the tail end.
Wow.
And thank God all my babies have come through okay.
Yes, I'm sure they have.
And my last baby, her dad's a doctor, her mother's a nurse, and she's, I think, a sophomore at UNC now.
That's great.
In nursing school.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Think about, for you, and obviously having those experiences, you can truly talk about prematurity.
Yes.
And the impact that it makes on so many. I'm sure you've traveled to McLeod or to many of the hospitals and have seen it yourself, to to see
UNC,
the impact.
Duke, all of it.
We've heard the parents of ambassador babies at the chef's auction recently and other events speaking about their own family issues. But share with viewers just a little bit about prematurity and why it's something that folks need to think about in supporting the March of Dimes, or of course your position with DHEC, just making sure that they're aware of some of the issues.
Yeah. Well, certainly prematurity is defined as having a baby, that's born before, say, 36 weeks gestation. Normally it's about 40 weeks, we say, gestation, but those babies are born weighing, less than 6 pounds, or many of them about 1 or 2 pounds. And in other words, they are not fully developed. There are problems with respiratory system, the lungs are not completely filled, and certainly the brain is not completely developed, so they end up being problems. So a baby that's born before 36 weeks has a strong chance of being in the neonatal intensive care unit, what we call the NICU. It's a special nursery for these tiny babies. And the good thing about it, we have specialists called neonatologists. These are pediatricians who have gone through additional training a year or two in order to take care of the needs of these tiny babies. And it is just so costly to take care of these small ones, not just in terms of the dollars, but also in terms of just the caregivers, mom and dad. I know that it says about $40,000 one would have to pay per year just to take care of a baby like that, just individual, in contrast to, say, maybe $3,000 for a normal birth. I mean, those are conservative numbers.